welcome back to the channel. It's Lauren. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing well. Today, I thought we could talk about a few brands that I feel like they've fallen off. Like, let's get real. I feel like they were really popular at one point. They definitely make up a lot of my early makeup memories. There's a lot of like, just, yeah, I have like specific moments of memory with some of these brands. And when I look at the makeup landscape now, I don't know where are they where are they at, you know? So I thought it would be fun just kind of go down makeup memory lane a little bit, talk about some of these brands, maybe talk about some of the most popular products from them, their hero products, their like iconic moments that made them super popular at one point in time. And we'll probably get into a little bit too about how the makeup landscape has changed, like what was popular, what is popular now, how maybe those brands do or don't fit into that. And I feel like none of these brands were like canceled, right? Like, I'm not talking about brands that fell off because of cancellation or something. Like, I feel like if I had to give an example, maybe the KVD, you know, vegan beauty brand. That's not really what these ones are. I feel like there's not really like, I don't know. I kind of like don't know what happened. And as I talk about these brands, I'd love to know if you still have products you love from them. Are you still using products? Have you still kept a lot of the products around? Just any of that. Are there things that maybe I should try if they're still good? That type of stuff. But enough of an intro. Let's just get into it. We'll talk about it then. But I'm starting the list off with the balm. And really I wanted to start here because I feel like in my earliest makeup memories, the balm was almost like this indie brand, like how I think of indie brands now or something. Like, it wasn't necessarily sold at like Sephora or Ulta, or at least I don't remember, at least initially, that happening. I think maybe at one point in my head, I'm thinking, I think at one point you could get the Mary Luminizer at either Ulta or Sephora, right? I think so. But that highlighter, man, I feel like it was the Becca highlighters and the Mary Luminizer. That was the one. They only had the one shade for a while. They did release some later, but that really was the like kickoff product, I feel like, for them, of what was really popular. Everyone knew that highlighter. Everyone, it felt like, had that highlighter, loved that highlighter. It was huge. I mean, the whole brand kind of has almost a Benefit vibe in terms of like kind of a throwback to like 1950s type things, you know, the packaging, the way the women look. Also the Nude Tude palette, is that what it's called? And the Meat Matte, oh my gosh, that just like gave me memories. I can remember being in Arizona and having that palette. Anyway, where it had like the naked girls, but then the shadows were like the bikini top and bottom. Wow, that's like a whole moment. But that brand was super popular at the time, and I feel like over the years, I don't know if it's that they just didn't come out with enough products or really what was happening, but I really feel like they've just fallen off. Like, I think that's really the best way to say it. It feels like a decline. I'm not saying they don't make sales. I'm not saying people don't use it or love it or buy it. I don't think anything happened with like the quality, but I do feel like it's almost been relegated to maybe subscription box type makeup, maybe like a QVC moment, something like that. Like, you find it at TJ Maxx, but you didn't even know that palette came out. Kinda. And I really don't entirely know why. I mean, for a while, really pigmented stuff and like colorful stuff was coming out and really popular, and I don't think that was really their vibe, right? Like, they always had really just nice neutrals. I remember at one point when I used to order from All Cosmetics Wholesale, You're a Real One if you know what the fuck that even is, I bought some single shadows from them, and they were like nice quality single shadows, like, you know, smooth, shimmery, everything we wanted back in the day that we weren't getting from, you know, the drugstore and stuff like that. So I don't think there's like an issue with quality. I do think them almost twinning with Benefit in terms of packaging kind of makes it's like Besame is like going for like a very authentic feel of like more 1950s type of stuff. And then with Benefit and with the balm, it feels more like a little more playful, I guess, and kind of tongue-in-cheek and stuff. But I don't know, maybe that just wasn't as trendy anymore, or we'd seen it, like it wasn't as novel, maybe is a good word or a good way to put it. I also honestly think them not doing a great job at diversifying their products, as in like having more shades for deeper skin tones in terms of their foundations and stuff, wasn't good on them as well. Definitely a room and place they could improve. I really do think though, just not a ton of products, you know, they have like their core stuff. I think they're, you know, into their staples. And again, I think those formulas work, but whether it's good or bad, I don't, you know, I like new products. It's fun seeing what's new coming out, but also, you know, tons of products is is a lot also. You have to find this very thin line, this balance between both, and I think maybe they could have released a bit more. They definitely just remind me of like old days. I don't feel like they're really in the cool makeup landscape or like in the social media world of makeup like they were. And they were big. Like if you can believe it, they were big. They were huge. Next, let's talk about Pretty Vulgar. I feel like, I don't know, okay, this is weird, but it's almost like I feel like Pretty Vulgar was this like venture capitalist moment where makeup was like picking up steam and they were like, we have this idea for really ornate makeup that, you know, everything was like a to-do. All the packaging was really beautiful. It went straight, I feel like, into Sephora. It's like a brand I had never heard of all of a sudden at Sephora. Their products had this like gilded look to them. It looks like makeup that, what's her name in Sweeney Todd would use. Like not like the girl with the blonde hair. Sweeney Todd would wear this in her like house. Does that even make sense? You know what I'm saying? Not Miss Lovett. Anyway, I feel like they really, you know, like they had a vision for their brand. They had a perspective. They had a look and a vibe. And there's a part of me that, you know, like, I think it's cool that they did that. I was very intrigued by the products. I remember the Swan highlighter being pretty popular. Like, that's one of the biggest things I can remember. I got the bronzer in a subscription box. I feel like pretty fast it went to subscription. I don't know if they just didn't send out enough products to influencers. It just felt like, oh, they're new at Sephora. Some people talked about them a little. I mean, they had like a really ornate mascara, but none of their palettes were really that big of a hit at the time. I don't know. It feels like just a misconnection almost, because I feel like they had a lot going for them. I feel like the quality of the product seemed pretty good. The pigmentation seemed to be there. The, you know, packaging definitely had a viewpoint and something like different, I feel like, to offer to the market. I don't know. I feel like maybe they just didn't get enough eyes. Like they should have maybe, yeah, sent it out to more influencers, maybe did some more sponsorships, did brand trips. That was like a big thing at the time. Maybe stuff like that would have really helped. I don't know. They had the rose gold packaging, you guys. Like rose gold at the time was, you know, I feel like everyone still loves rose gold, right? Like, I don't think that's gone away, right? Anyway, I don't have any of their products. If I have products to show you, I will show you them. I have some from a couple other brands, but I don't know. It's one that I feel like maybe today could, like a version of it. Maybe not the exact same way, but I don't know. I'm surprised it didn't do better. And I kind of like look back at it like, man, I wish I bought some of this stuff. Like I wish I knew if it was good. I never had the Swan highlighter. Kind of wish I did. They had something that was like a puff. And I feel like I want to try that. Like it's just, I like that it's like these beautiful products, and I do think that the formula is there too. So I feel like, I don't even know what happened. I don't know if there's still like a thing and a brand. It feels like the peak was them being on the Sephora website for a little bit and it just was downhill from there. What happened? What happened? Next, I want to talk about Rimmel, Rimmel London products. And I put this on here. A lot of these are like from obviously my perspective. Hello, like it's my video, I don't know. But in my memories of like what I thought of these brands, so it could be a little skewed of like, everyone's like, no one was thinking those things, just me over here being obsessed with weird brands for weird reasons. But I feel like out of the drugstore makeup, Rimmel was like a brand I was pretty into. I liked the pressed powder. I felt like they were actually affordable. Rimmel's one of the like more mainstream brands at the drugstore that wasn't like Wet n Wild, that I felt like was pretty affordable at the time, you know? All these other brands kept going up in price and I felt like they kept their prices pretty good. So I loved that powder. I had the Kajal liners. Those were really good, super creamy, again, super affordable. At the time when everyone wanted to put that like kind of nude colored liner on their inner rim, they had that. And maybe it's the marketing, you know, that kind of, you know, get the London look and Kate Moss and all that. Like maybe there was something kind of fun to me to that drew me to it. I felt like it was a little edgier. It felt younger, I guess, than like Almay and different brands like that. So I don't know, I just have like really great memories. I felt like at one point they had the Apocalypse, like the Rimmel Apocalypse. They were just coming out with more releases and I don't know what it is, but I just haven't heard shit about them. I don't know, what's their newest launch? Have you? I should do that. I might go look that up after the video, see what's going on. But they had some like palettes come out that were pretty long, but that's still like, we're talking 2017 when that happened. Like that's a long time ago, 2 years before the pandemic. It feels like a lifetime ago, really. I just don't think of them the same way as I used to, and I don't feel like I'm hearing about new releases much from them. But I guess in general, I'm not really hip to a lot of the drugstore new releases. So maybe that's just on me, not, you know, looking out for it as much as I used to, but definitely feels like Rimmel fell off and didn't keep up with tons of new launches, and I just feel like they could have been like e.l.f. or something if they really wanted to. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. Definitely feel like what happened. Next on my list, Violet Voss. I remember Violet Voss being a brand I really wanted to try. They had their, was it the hashtag? What was it called? They had their, I think it's the Holy Grail. It was not hashtag. I think they have a hashtag palette, but that's not what I'm talking about. The Holy Grail palette was kind of a rival, I feel like in the world of these warm browns and like red tones, which was, it just took over the whole makeup world after a modern renaissance. It was like that, the Queen of Hearts palette from Colored Rain. The Holy Grail palette was definitely one that a lot of people liked. And so I had heard about it from that, but I just never got around to getting it. I remember Laura Lee did a collab with them, and I didn't really know who that was at the time. I remember them having lots of glitters at the beginning. That was like a big thing of their brand. They had tons of glitters, and so I had known about lit glitters, like lit cosmetics at the time, and I felt like, oh, I kind of want to try some of the Violet Voss ones. And so I remember being like, oh, this is gonna be big, and I never got that stuff. Finally, I think in a BoxyCharm, I got the Holy Grail palette. No, I think I got it because I worked the beauty convention with Friends Beauty here in LA. So I was like at the booth working that. And so we got free product at the end and also got paid. And so I think I picked that as one of my free products. I think that's how that palette came into my life. Anyway, long story short, once I finally tried the formula, I was like, damn, this formula's pretty good. Like, it's pretty dang good. And so since then, I mean, you know, one could argue they're in Sephora right now. Like, they've definitely had success. And again, I think their formulas really great, but I think maybe I'm like, they could be so much more. Like, what's going on? Like, they could explode, and I feel like they just haven't had that like full explosion moment, and I'm just like, why not? Almost like, why haven't they? I have two palettes here to show you that I picked up actually more recently. I got these from BoxyCharm, so I did get a really great deal on them. These retail for like $18 on their own, but I got them half off. I feel like with Violet Voss, one of the things I definitely associate them with like BoxyCharm and different subscription boxes for sure, but then you can also buy them at Sephora. So it's interesting how they're definitely there. They come out with new stuff. They had that Care Bear palette. They're definitely still coming out with stuff. But this one here is the Wild Dahlia palette. I mean, look at this color story. So pretty. These two palettes really caught my eye because I really did like the theming. I think sometimes it feels like they almost dupe themselves, or maybe the concepts aren't, for me at least. Of course, everyone's different. Maybe they totally connect with you, but like the themes are just slightly off enough. And in this world where there's so much makeup, you know, as much as I will buy stuff and I'm excited to buy stuff, I can't and don't want to buy everything. And so I try to limit it to things that really push me over the edge. And I guess what I'm trying to say here is that with a lot of the palettes, it's just not quite there. Like, I know the formula is probably going to be really great, but something like isn't quite there with the theming, you know, that maybe another brand does do. And so yeah, anyway, the Wild Dahlia palette, so pretty. And then this is the Windflower. And again, it is like a warm palette, and they do a lot of these warm red brown type tones, but this one I just felt was really cohesive. Again, I really like these like fun size type palettes that they do, and I don't know, this color story out of a lot of them, one of the more cohesive, I guess, is the best way I can put that. So those I picked up recently. I'd love to know, do you have Violet Voss in your collection? What are some of the palettes that you really enjoy? Are the products from them that you really enjoy? I just feel like they could be a glam light. I don't know, so many brands that I feel like they are on par with in formula and like all these things, but I feel like maybe the marketing part, to me, that just shows like that alone could make or break. Like, it's pretty crazy. I like have this sweet spot in my heart for them, so you know, I always look out for their palettes and I want to buy them, but these are the ones that actually suck me in, and I think they're really pretty. I'm like happy to have them. Yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts on that one. Not exactly like falling off, but just, I guess I'm like, man, they could do so much. Like, it's just interesting how they haven't blown up more or something. I don't know, or it feels like their blow up was before, like they're not more blown up, even though, again, they're in Sephora and have that success. I have 4 more brands on my list. Next, I want to talk about Josie Maran, and this is like Argan Oil Queen, right? Argan Oil Queen. I think that her products are still sold on like QVC stuff, but I remember when Josie Maran, you know, branched out into the makeup world and these products were so popular, you guys. Like, I love the coconut water eyeshadows. I remember, I think there were some cream blushes maybe at the time, and this is a brand that I'm like, man, I know we went through our phases, you know, like our heavy makeup phase, 2016, 2017, even 2018. Not really Josie Maran era, you know, like not really, those types of products are not going to be popular, but today they would be so popular if only they'd made it through, I feel like. Again, I know they still, I'm pretty sure they still exist and stuff, but I'm just talking about, I feel like they could have a total like renaissance moment if they came out with those types of products, especially because I think they're more natural. Like there's just so many things that I feel like people would really love about the brand and that style today, like so much. And so, yeah, I almost wish, I'm like, guys, get on it. Get those products back going. Just fix the doe foots, we're good. As I was sitting here talking about Josie Maran, I wasn't gonna mention Becca, I didn't think about Becca, but honestly, I know they fell off all the way as in they're gone, bye-bye baby. But I will say this, I said this in my video, I really felt like, oh, if only they could have held on a little bit longer. I really think that Becca was getting on the trend. They just needed more products, more releases. I don't know what mistakes they made. I don't know what happened. I don't know why they had to kill off Becca of all the brands, but I really feel like the products that Becca does, that kind of low-key glamour, that's still like a more natural look, is so right now. Like the primers, yes. The highlighters, yes. They just had come out with some tinted moisturizers and like a glowy powder, like yes. They needed eyeshadows. They didn't have eyeshadow palettes that I felt like did well. They could have had, remember the souffle blushes from them? I'm pretty sure it was Becca, where it had the highlighter in a cream form with a blush. Like, what the fuck? Bring those back. Like, you already had the formula. You already had the formula. They fell all the way off and I feel like it's a tragedy. Like the longer it goes that they're gone, the more I'm like, man, they could have really, I think, had again another renaissance if they could have just held on, man. But anyway, let's move on. That was an unexpected one. I want to talk about Ciate London because I have actually quite a few products from Ciate London. And I think all the products I have, I've got into my collection, or most of them, more recently, like in the last year. So as much as I feel like they're not as popular overall, I'm a little more into them. Like I would say I'm a little more into their type of product. I remember when the glowy blushes came out, those were really exciting to me. I'm trying to think of what was really popular. They had the glitter flip lips, liquid lips, that from Ciate London, I think maybe was one of their big moments. They also just had that pretty packaging. I feel like it was more practical than Pretty Vulgar's pretty packaging, but it had that still kind of rose gold metallic look. They were at Sephora and they're still at Sephora, but I feel like it's a limited release. And I do feel like nowadays a lot of the products are in, like, again, boxy charms. They might be debuting a product in a subscription box type of thing. I thought I would talk about some of the products that I actually have here. This I bought, I think all this stuff has either come to me through boxy charms or through subscription boxes in some way or another, or I bought on a pretty steep discount. Yeah, that's how I have everything here. So I have this Ciate London. This is the Smiley World Wink On palette. I remember when this came out, I definitely talked about this in like new beauty launches video, and I remember being like, oh, who cares about it? But it's kind of cute in person. It is a cute little compact, I'm not gonna lie. And this is a shimmery little guy. I think the formula is pretty dang nice on these. I'm actually kind of surprised. I don't know. I think maybe for a long time since I wasn't into neutrals, I know that they do more those shimmery neutral type palettes, and maybe they were really great and I just wasn't into them at that time, and now that I am, I look back and I'm like, wow, how pretty. But I haven't really tried any of their newer formulas or other palettes. I just haven't taken the leap, but let me know if you've tried stuff. I know they did that collab. That was like a big moment and like I think a big thing at the time with the brand. But yeah, there's this really pretty like bronzy shade in here. I do think the quality is good. I don't know why they're not more popular, I guess. Like, I don't know what it is. The packaging's usually cute. Something's off. They did the Miss Piggy stuff. That was kind of weird. I don't know. It's just weird, right? Okay. This one is the Marbled Metals Gilded. It's like one of those like loosely pressed eyeshadows, and this one's in the shade Gilded. I picked this up from the website. They had like a sale going on, and I'm super into these one shadow looks. If it's in a pot, I'm pretty excited to try it. I'm pretty excited. Whether it's cream, semi-cream, powder, whatever. I'm into that look, which again, that reminds me of like old days. So that's the Gilded shade. I mean, absolutely beautiful, super pigmented. Definitely want to put that on my eyeballs. And then the other shade I got, this is in Serendipity. And this is like almost like a silvery taupey type color. Oh yeah, that one's really pretty. There's that. But I mean, I also am like, this color to me has only been pretty to me more recently. I feel like a lot of people haven't been into, you know, the warm shades have taken over for so long. I feel like only more recently have there been maybe at least a little balance between the two. I still think warm tones overall are still more popular, but there's at least a little room for something cool going on. That's what I have eyeshadow wise. I do have some face products and I do feel like those are pretty good, especially the blushes. I have a little sample of that glowy blush I was talking about earlier. This one's in the shade Date Night and it's a really just nice neutral color. It has a nice sheen to it. Again, I'm like, this is what I'm looking for. I'm like, I want sheeny, cute little blushes. That's what I want from brands. And I know cream is all the rage and I get it, like liquids, creams, beautiful. I do think those are nice, but can we just get some, you know, baked Laura Geller blushes, okay? Like who, you know, I'm over here being like, man, my mom was so right. Laura Geller blushes are the shit. I mean, I know that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I want. It's so funny. Anyway, this is the shade Burnt, and it's more of a red shade. I think I got this through BoxyCharm. Really beautiful color. Definitely unique to my collection because it does make me look like a little sunburnt, little sun-kissed little cherub baby. Really cute. And then the other thing that I picked up when I bought some stuff off the website was this Glow 2 highlighter because literally I'm on the hunt for any brand and their highlighters. I am trying to find the best, and I'm gonna tell you a secret. Some of these older releases from brands were the shit. Those were the highlighters, guys. Like, those are the ones we need back. The gelée formulas that, you know, just had no texture. They're thin on your face. Like, you know, the powder itself isn't like an eyeshadow. I don't know, they just had it right back in the day. Anyway, this is the shade Moon Dust. I don't know if I told you that. And this is okay. I'm not obsessed. It's a little bit like an eyeshadow. I've worn it and I can definitely make it work, and I still want to try it a little bit more. Maybe I'll unlock the secrets to its, you know, beauty, because it is a beautiful color. It's just on the edge of being too dark for me, but I don't mind that because sometimes I don't want something too icy and too light. Yeah, I just feel like they have a lot of potential and they have good formulas again. So I'm kind of, I don't know, I guess I'm shocked they don't get more hype, or at least it feels like they don't. Is that just me? Let me know. Again, maybe it's just me in my world, what I'm seeing, what I'm watching, you know, maybe all these brands are doing really well and I'm the one that's just not with it. That could be the case entirely. Last two brands, I want to talk about Stila because their glitter and glows took over. Everyone loved those things and I just feel like, I don't know what happened. I mean, their liquid liner was really big. They had the kitten eyeshadow. That was a really big deal for a long time, but just not enough releases, I think. I don't know what happened with Stila. That's all I have to say, honestly. What happened with Stila? Okay, last, Jouer. I want to talk about Jouer because I feel like for a while they were really tied to the influencer sphere. They were definitely being promoted by people. They were taking people on brand trips. So I feel like there was a lot of hype around the highlighters and around just mostly the highlighters. I think that was like their big thing, maybe their lip glosses. It's weird though because I remember a time when Jouer just had the clickable makeup that like, yeah, clicked together, and I remember Ingrid talking about them. And so there's like that view of them that I have, which is not like the, you know, blinding highlight. It's more natural. And then they shifted, I feel like, to that more blinding social media brand. And I feel like that's where they saw a lot of success. And like, that's how I really remember them most, I guess. I never tried any of the highlighters. I just, at the time, like, I really wasn't buying that much makeup. I was broke as fuck and honestly trying not to buy a lot of stuff. But it's one of the things that I kind of wish I tried now, like looking like, man, I wish I got to try some of those highlighters. They also had some blush duos that I think were pretty. They had some eyeshadow palettes, but I don't think those were super popular. But I just feel like now I just don't really hear much. I don't hear nearly as much. I think they are at Sephora, but I think that they went more the natural route natural glowy dewy makeup, it'd probably be good. Like kind of find that balance in between, do the social media thing really well, but maybe go back to some more natural stuff. I think that would probably do really great. But those are the brands I wanted to talk about. The ones that I definitely have some makeup memories from, like times back in the day where I was maybe wanting products but never got to try them. They would have been on a wish list, or I just felt like everyone who was anyone was using them, even if that wasn't me. And now I just feel like, you know, when I think of who's in the makeup world, Kosas and Tower 28, I mean, Natasha Denona, Pat McGrath, when we're talking about more luxury stuff. I don't know, Charlotte Tilbury, even some of the like more influencer or like, you know, person behind a Makeup by Mario stuff in Sephora, Fenty, Rare Beauty, like those are more what I feel like people are talking about. Trends change, the landscape's so different from even just 5 years ago, and I thought it'd be fun to talk about. So I'd love to know any of your thoughts. I'd love to know if you have any favorite products still from these brands, or what you have in your collection maybe from these brands. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and other than that, I will see you in the next one. Bye.